So my machine is ready. It has got an IP address. Let's go ahead to this IP address, and I would connect to it using putty as a service, so we can access the console of it, and we would start seeing some of the information as it comes into my application. What I'm going to do now, I'm logging into that machine which we have just created. I'm logging in as EC2-user, and if you see this, I am connected. Let me do ls, and you could see my script is now available here. So I'm going there and say, let's see what is inside that. So cd aws scripts.mon, and if I see, there are files there. So there is a instance status.pl Perl script. Then there is a put instance get data, get instance information, and put instance information. These are the two scripts which I am interested in. And if you want to read more on that, there are some other files also available. So I'll clear it. And now my request is I want to inform and put some data. Where I want to put that data, I want to put that data into CloudWatch monitoring. Now, I could check information from this monitoring tab, which is by default there in every instance. So I get CPU utilization, disk read operation. So these are my standard metrics. But I am not getting here anything related to memory. Can anyone tell me why CloudWatch is not able to gather information about memory? Why memory information is not displayed here? What is the reason why memory information is not displayed? Anyone, any thoughts why this could be happening? Why memory data is not displayed by CloudWatch by default? What is the technical reason behind it? Has anyone thought about, or you were not aware that memory is not by default reported? Anyone? Let me see answers there. I'm getting some answers there. So memory is rated with any storage disk? No, not like that. AWS cannot access the operating system. That's exactly the reason, right? So what happens when you say, hey, I am looking for a EC2 machine with 8 GB of memory? So what AWS environment is going to give you, it is, let's say this is your machine and you have this 8 GB of memory allocated, 8 GB RAM allocated. Our system says we allocated you 8 GB. Are you using it or not? I don't know. I don't know that because I cannot access your operating system by default. So your operating system has view of whole 8 GB memory. It may be using only 2 GB of that, and remaining 6 GB would be free, but it is an operating system's control, not on Amazon's control, AWS control. But what you could do instead of this, if you want to that information, you could install an agent here, and that agent would start collecting this information and would send this data to CloudWatch, and now CloudWatch would be able to get your operating system information also. So that's why we are installing agent. Memory is not a standard matrix. This is a custom matrix, and we would need an agent to get this information through to our services. So let's go ahead and utilize this agent to run some of the test, right? So I'm here. I would clear this out again one more time. Now what I'm looking for, I'm looking for running that agent which we have just downloaded. So that agent we downloaded was having a script which is basically going to verify my application. So the script I am going to run is your EC2 user, and I am saying, hey, I want this information. Please run the script which is called AWS script mon put instance data.pl and tell me memory utilization. Verbose. Verbose means give me information right now, display it to me, and verify whether we are able to send this information to CloudWatch service or not. So I'm not actually sending any data. I'm just doing a verification here, and I run this. What I got here, it says memory utilization is 13, so it is able to get that information. That's a good. But it says no credential methods are specified. Trying default IAM role, no IAM role is associated with this EC2 instance. For more information, check this. What is happening here? Anyone, any thoughts why I am getting here? Where is this resource found? We can send you the link. We will send that link into chat. Question again, why I am getting this error? What is the reason I am not able to send information? Is it needed to configure CloudWatch, or it is default already configured for a VM? Kanaya, default information is going to AWS. We do not need configuration for default information. But if you are looking to put additional information, for that you would need to install configuration. You would need to install agent. No permission by default, no profile is associated with EC2. That's exactly what is happening. So what is happening, my machine agent is trying to talk to CloudWatch service, but that agent has no permission. One option to add permission is I could add my credential manually here, but it would be then stored into a plain text format. Instead of that, what I could do, I could go ahead and say, hey, let's create a IAM role, and through that IAM role, I would be assigning that role to EC2 instance, and then EC2 instance would be able to leverage the credential of that role. So we are now focusing on creating a role which would give my instance permission to talk to CloudWatch service backend, right? So IAM lecture, if you missed it, check the previous videos. There we talked about what a role is. A role is a way to give temporary credential to a user or to a service. So we are now going to create a role which would have permission associated to access CloudWatch, and we would be then adding that role to EC2 instance. So I'm going ahead and creating a role, not a very complicated stuff. You could create your own policies for it, or you could create your own, you could use existing policies. So here it says, select who is going to assume this role, whom you trust, who is going to use this role. It could be service, could be account, could be other services. So I am assuming EC2 as my common use case. So I hope my EC2 instance would be assuming this role. So that's fine. Let me use that. Use case for other AWS services, I am not interested on that. I am only allowing EC2 to assume this particular role. And now I am saying, once assumed, what this EC2 instance can do, that is what I am adding as a permission. So I could search here and let's see if we have some CloudWatch related permission by default. If it is there, I can just use it. If not, I could create my own if the need be. So here it says CloudWatch agent admin policy, service policy. I am giving it a very generic permission now, which is not should be a case in production environment. I am giving it CloudWatch full access permission. So this CloudWatch full access permission would entitle my agent to start pushing this information to CloudWatch services. And now we would go ahead and start seeing this information. So let's start sending this role. Let's call it CloudWatch role. And I have selected this setting. I have added the policy and now my role is ready, right? I haven't assigned the role, so creation of role is one thing, and afterward you have to do what? You have to assign this role to a service so that it can perform the task you are expecting it to do. So I would first create the role, and based on that, I would assign that role to a service. Give it a few seconds, let it come. Okay, yep, just creating role, we could see that. And now should be my role ready in a minute or so. We will see that in a minute. Okay. Now, while this is happening, let me show you one more thing. Let me go to the CloudWatch console itself. And there I would show you that what is available inside that. So I'm going to CloudWatch console and we would start seeing what is the current status of information. Okay. So this is my dashboard by default, which is coming up. You can obviously create your own dashboard if the need be. And I could start looking into metrics information. So I have option here, alarm, log, and metrics. So I am interested right now in the metrics and I have selected all the metrics. It would start showing me what metrics are available for me. So the metrics which are available for me are these. EBS, EC2, I'll zoom out a little bit so you can have a better view. So these are all the metrics available for me. I am interested, let's say, on EC2 metrics. So I could select EC2. I could select a per instance metrics. So my instance which is running is currently displaying some information. What informations are? This is my instance and then the instance ID, and it is showing me some specific information like test CloudWatch machine, CPU credit, CPU balance, CPU utilization. So that information is being displayed. So if I select it, that data would start populating. So it was on 0.3% and then it went down, and I could check this information on a 1 hour. This is what my CPU utilization metrics currently look for it. But I do not have memory data right now. Once my instance gets that role assigned, I would be able to see that information. So we will see that in a minute. I'm not 100% sure whether the role got created or not. It still shows role getting created. Let me open IAM again. Looks like that page has not responded. properly. So let me try to open it again. I'll go back and access IAM service just to check if the role was successfully created or not. Good. Everyone fine so far, hopefully. And now I'm trying to see the IAM role again to verify whether the role was created, and then I would assign that. Now, while this is happening, question to you. Once I assign the IAM role, do I have to restart my instance, or will it be automatically taken into account, or will it auto apply as soon as I apply the role, or do I have to restart my instance? What do you think? Is restart required? Do you need restart for your instance? Should auto apply, exactly. Restart is not required on that. So if you see this, this is my 00CW role. It's got created. The permission I assigned is CloudWatch full access, so that is good. Let me go to my EC2 instance, and on this EC2 instance I would go ahead and say, hey, I want to change, attach, or replace IAM role. Now question to you again, can I attach multiple IAM role to a EC2 instance? Multiple IAM role to a EC2 instance. Is it possible? Multiple IAM role. I'm getting yes and no. Answer for that is no. Single role. What would happen? Role would be one, and that would have multiple policies in that. So that is possible, but not multiple role. Remember my example of hat. You can wear one hat at a time on your head. That is your role. So, but that hat may have multiple things inside. That's not a problem. So that role can have multiple policies attached, but only one role can be associated with that instance. So I am selecting this particular role and I say apply. So now my role has been associated. It may take few seconds probably to stand and check whether my information has been rolled out or not. Let's go back to that instance, run the same command. Previously we got an error. Now this time let's run it. See this. What it says, this time trying default IAM role, it is using the role we just assigned, and it talked to this endpoint which is in EUS1, which is for CloudWatch, and it has started sending information like this, but it says verification completed successfully. No actual metrics was sent. Why? Because I said, hey, just verify. I don't need data right now to be sent. I just verified whether I have the best information or not, whether I have required permission or not. So I am able to see that yes, my information can be reaching out to the CloudWatch. And now next thing I would be doing, I would now actually start sending metrics without saying verify. So let me clear this out and run another command. This time I am running the same command, monitor put instance, and I'm saying report three things: memory utilization, memory used, and memory available of my EC2 instance. So this information I have started putting in. It says successfully reported this matrix. Now what I did, it was a one time information sent from my agent to CloudWatch service. If I do it again, this is second time. If I do it again, this is third time. Obviously, I can't keep on doing this thing manually. I need a better approach. Any suggestions here? What can I do to automate sending this information to CloudWatch service? What could be your suggestion if I want to execute the script again and again? What I should be doing? Anyone? Cron job, yes, exactly. So we could put a cron job entry, and that cron job would take care of setting this data on a multiple times. So we would be doing the same thing. We would go ahead and say, hey, let's go ahead and utilize cron job. So I'm assuming a super user admin role here. Now, once I'm inside, I will go ahead and check the cron tab file, which is basically the automation. And in that, I could put entries like this. The entries in cron tab is in the format which is like minute, hour, and all the stuff. So in this case, I am going to insert one line, and that line is about this. So I am saying I want to run the script and report these metrics as a root user and in every 1 minute interval. So I have installed this information, and now this is part of my cron tab. So every 1 minute this information would start being displayed into, or this script would run and it would report back information to my CloudWatch service, and we could see that into the dashboard. So if you now go to CloudWatch management, because I started sending custom metrics, I should start seeing additional information. Let me go back to CloudWatch and I'll show you how the custom namespace would be displayed. Custom metrics, once you start displaying, they are displayed into something called custom namespace. I'll quickly show you it here, and you could plot a graph from that. So this is my metrics. I don't want this one right now. I am interested into browsing all available metrics, not only in EC2. I am saying all. I'm coming back to it. See this. See this one, custom namespace. So custom namespace, this I use a data brew job from Glue, that's why it reported. And this is the Linux matrix which I am displaying. And what this matrix contain, it is coming from instance. And which instance? Obviously it would have name of my instance, and it is reporting three information: memory available, memory utilization, and memory used. And I could select it, and they would be displayed to me here into a graph format. So give it some time, it would start displaying me data in this location, right? So that's how I start sending information to CloudWatch. Now I just captured memory information. You could be creative and you could get other information from operating system and push that data to it, right? Agent is a Linux or Windows based service. So install it on premises, add your credential, and your on-premises information can also be displayed into one single place. So idea here is you could go ahead and say, I want to have one dashboard in which all my data from on-prem as well as from AWS would be displayed. So that should not be a problem. So it's really easy to get started with your CloudWatch services. Okay, hopefully everyone has understood and got an idea. So cron job can work, and you could go ahead and run your services from there, and your metrics would start collecting. If you want to create your own dashboard, we give you that option. Here I can create a custom dashboard. Let's say I'm using it for monitoring my servers, and in that monitoring my servers, I need to probably not use spaces. And here I could say what metrics I want to monitor. So I can add a widget. Widget could be like in this form of a graph. So I say, okay, line graph. I am looking for metrics information, and what metrics information, you could then select the specific metrics. Like here, I have these instance, and I could have selected their metrics data to be added, and this would start displaying a widget for me here like this. See this? See, we started getting some information. It will take little time, but if you look at these dots, this dot is representing, hey, what was the memory available? And then it would start sending this information again. So that's what we can check from your memory utilization on CloudWatch, right? Good. Okay, let's move forward. Let's talk a little bit more on other services. So this script would be available, play around if you want to. I have run these command which has given me access to this application, and I have put this all information here so you could leverage it. Should not be a problem at all on that, right? So detailed CloudWatch monitoring is using the same concept as enhanced monitoring. Enhanced monitoring, I'm not sure whether it's a correct word or not, so I have to check that. But detailed monitoring is basically I want granularity of 1 minute rather than standard, which is 5 minutes, right? So we need that. And whenever you are looking for custom data, that time you would need an agent to be installed. From there you would capture information.